Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Shared Tangos, episode number 4. Today we're going to talk about patch 7.24. We've got Trent back, the baby daddy, has returned to the podcast. You've reclaimed your seat from Lyrical. That's good, because he did a damn good job, dude. Short notice, and he stepped up. I thought we had a special thing here. I was a little nervous, but Gabe and I talked for an hour and 20 minutes, no problem. What's up, bud?
He was my first choice because I could tell that he was watching a lot of the tournament. I take it that's what you mostly talked about?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I instructed him to steer away from the patch so we could keep that safe for you. It's been out for, like 4 days now, something like that. So had a little time to at least see some games, digest the notes. I actually haven't played, but you were playing. How many games have you played? That wasn't your first one, was it?
Yeah, those are my first 2 games.
Okay. All right.
So we've 2.
You know, we've gotten some initial impressions out at least, and I don't know about you, but I like to have a little bit of time to at least just think about it and see how stuff plays out. I was listening to some of Purge's initial reaction video, and it's just funny to see that, okay, guys, this is my first time reading this line, and your first thoughts are always not 100% right.
My first thought is always, Purge, read the next line, because it usually invalidates everything that he said. It's a classic.
Yep.
He knows his content at this point, you know?
Yeah, no, we've all come to love it for sure. So before we dive too far in the patch, though, let's start with a couple of quick news pieces because we've had some roster updates that are pretty exciting. I think we mentioned a few on the last podcast. NIP is the big one. It came out this morning, dude.
Yeah, that is something else. I got to say, Dahak is hype. I think that guy's amazing and very versatile and threatening person to have on your team thanks to like his abilities on like Meepo, but also on like those super hard carries like Medusa. So I've always been a big fan of him. I think he was contesting with like top carry, mostly like top core alongside like GPK and Dream and CIS. So
the roster in order of position is Dahak, Tanner, Anaylsis, Universe, then PPD, Ninjas in Pajamas. So very interesting mixture. Dahak is Russian, Tanner is from the UK, Anaylsis is Brazilian, and then Universe and PPD are both USA, baby. So an EU squad, I guess technically, right? They're still, upcoming European closed qualifier. Says it right there in the announcement. So EU org, still the EU team, but 2 Americans. So that's, I'm in.
Yeah, Peter has a permanent home in Stockholm, I believe. I think he owns a place there, and he's mostly lived there. I think it's Stockholm. It's at least in Sweden, I'm fairly sure.
Yeah.
So I get like the whole Europe thing. Plus, Europe is like the best place to have a team right now until it's like actually qualifying for PI. Then you probably don't want to be in Europe. Although at this point, a lot of the European teams are getting some DPC points. It might work out to stay there. It'll be interesting to see where they wind up in the final qualifier.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. A cool mix of experience, too. When I saw this roster, I wanted to ask you about your thoughts with Universe and potential contention for GOAT, greatest of all time. You know, that conversation comes up from time to time. And in the past, he's been brought up. But I think over the last, year or 2 years, he really hasn't kept up pace with some of the other players that have continued to perform, like Puppy, for example. You match up their accolades, and it's just like, I can't make as strong a case for Universe as I could. What do you think about that? Do you think he's still like a tier 1 offlaner, so to speak?
I don't know. I could see that argument maybe, but like his role has changed a lot compared to how he used to play it. And he took like a year and a half, or was it almost 2 years off, where he just wasn't playing competitive?
But yeah, it was a good stretch, man.
Like some people have bounced back from that, like Zai, and then you look at that and you say, wow, this guy's obviously very incredible at Dota. And then Universe is coming back in a new role, so he's going to need a lot more time to adjust. And hasn't necessarily been put right back onto the same caliber of team as well that Zai got to do. So that could be potentially another reason. But I don't think I would put him as my greatest of all time current candidate. I know Grant probably would.
Yeah.
But I think that, dude, you got like, what if these OG guys just keep on playing this well? You know?
Yeah. No, exactly. So it looks like his official break between Ford and NIP wasn't quite as long. It's like 6 months or so, something like that, 5 or 6 months. He was only on Forward for 6 months and then before that he played on Quincy Crew right after Fnatic. So
okay, actually it wasn't that long then.
It's not that long. It feels like forever though. I think that's just exemplary of how fast Dota moves, man. These patches and stuff, like you take a year off and that's That's a lot of tournaments. That's a long time when other people are still progressing and you're just kind of holding steady.
Yeah, and then probably one of the more surprising announcements I've seen was the SKT one, because we knew that Forev has had his SKT sponsorship for a while, with the tier one, with T1 or whatever, and he was putting together a squad, and then they didn't qualify. Like if Genespers had qualified, there's a big rumor that like they obviously would have been T1 because Forev and them were already talking, but then they didn't qualify for TI.
Yeah,
and then the same thing happened again with the first major, and again they didn't qualify, and now they are at least officially registered as SKT T1, and you have Black Forever in your dream.
Yeah.
Which is pretty hype. And then our boy Yoakum, right? Huge fans.
Yep.
And I'm not sure which one this is.
Yeah, that was the one that I kind of went,
Is that NA Zhuan? Or is that played in China for a while, Zhuan?
Great question.
Let's see.
If you search Zhuan, 3 players come up, actually. 2 Chinese players and a Chinese-Canadian player. So, unknown.
Yeah, I do know the Chinese-Canadian guy, because I run into him in pubs all the time. But I don't think it's that guy. Maybe it is him. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the an official roster. I just see like the Steam profile, so I don't really know.
Yeah. Yoakum from Indonesia. From
Boom ID, baby.
Yeah,
right?
dude.
Dude.
It's all coming back to me. So this is interesting, though, because the actual Reddit thread is not an announcement. If you look these players up, there's no team listed. It's just the Dota 2 registration. So this is like data scraping knowledge, dude. Forev's sitting there right now just like, oh, fuck. We had an announcement coming. No, guys, not like this.
Oh, it is the Canadian guy. Yeah, it's QZ Zhuan. Yeah, I know this guy.
Okay.
That is definitely the guy who I have played against before. He plays a lot of unranked matchmaking. So if you're playing in like a high MMR party in unranked because you got a couple of people who aren't immortal, you run into that stack, dude, it's brutal. I think I've beaten him once. And the other games were not close.
Damn, this Reddit thread's brutal, though. They're kind of shitting on Yoakum. Is he better than Zephyr? No.
Just no.
Mechanically, maybe not, but personality, definitely. Would you mind elaborating? I know him personally, and he's a really nice guy. Oh no.
That's nice. Well, what's funny is that I saw this thread, and it had like 18 comments after a long time. Like, it must have been... Oh, maybe this is a new... I think it got posted again. Because I saw this already posted once, and it barely had any comments. But either way, this has really bumped up. Last time I saw the same thread about SKT, it only had like 15 comments, whereas the one from NIP had like 1 billion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't even realize, because people are mentioning in chat, we also have the Cloud9 one. There's a lot of roster things. Oh my god.
Yeah, dude. It's pretty wild. So what is the Cloud9 roster? Here it is. Okay, I finally pulled up the announcement. So Skemberlu, VT Faded, Misery, Francis Lee, Pylai Dai. That is a wild mixture of players. This is, Pylai Dai, Misery, okay. Skem, got some skills. Faded. What are your thoughts on Faded?
I don't think anyone has thoughts yet. The only tournament he played with Chaos did not go great for him. He didn't really have that big, bright, shining moment of like, wow, the team didn't do well, but this guy looks amazing. Kind of like you see with like GPK and Dream.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see those guys go, and you're like, whoa. Then you watch VT Fade, and you're like, maybe he just wasn't enabled. He didn't have a great time. So obviously they have a lot of faith in him. Makes sense that they're going to be in Southeast Asia as well, because that's where like Pilot Eye is located.
Yeah.
As well as Gabriel, as he's listed there, and VT Faded. So lots of C gamers.
Francis Lee.
Yeah, that's hype.
All right.
And Misery, of course. I mean, what can you say about Misery? The guy's been out of it for a while, waiting for a solid roster, and this is what he's got.
All right, this article's pretty funny. Cloud9 bounced in and out of Dota 2 on several occasions with varying degrees of success each time. The org is most closely associated with building teams around Eternal Envy, both in 2014 and 2017. This is somewhat surprising that the team is not signing Eternal Envy once again.
I mean, that's a pretty accurate article. Dude,
I
who
appreciate
wrote that?
it. That's
Give me
dope.
a shout out to whoever wrote that.
Yeah, that's a shout out to Stephen R. He doesn't have a last name, just Stephen R. So keep an eye out on the Twitters. Wow, so a lot to look forward to, man. This is hype. This makes me want to sit back and watch some qualifiers, you know?
Is Sing Sing still an official Cloud9 streamer? Out of curiosity, does anyone know? I assume he is, because I feel
I
like that's
thought
still a pretty
yes.
good deal.
I don't know.
Yes, everyone's saying yes.
Okay.
I really hope that Sing Sing will stream their games. I would love to watch Sing Sing cast some games. Get the crew together. Those are always fun.
Dude, now we're talking. So when is now? I'm thinking out loud. When is the next set of qualifiers? And it.
Dog, we haven't even got to OG.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys talked about this last time.
No. Well, no, we didn't. True Sight was just starting, so no. We did it before True Sight aired. But
these qualifiers are going to be amazing, guys.
February 9th, dude. That's when qualifiers start. That's not that far away. That's 10 days.
A week. It's like a week from the Super Bowl.
Yeah. That's wild. Okay, so OG roster.
I don't even know what to say. This is like one of those like you're playing in some NHL game or NBA game or something, and you load up day one, you put the game on easy mode so that the computer takes all your shitty trades and you get all your favorite players that were like possible on this team. And this is what you do. It's pretty crazy. Like you have mid one and Sumail on the side lanes while Thompson goes mid. Jeez.
Yeah. That's a dope analogy, dude. I like that. Very accurate. Sumail, Thompson, mid one, Saksa, No Tail in order of position. And Seb is coach, right?
Yeah, Seb will be coaching.
It's not officially listed here on Liquipedia for whatever reason, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. I feel like I couldn't be more in love with this team, and I think a lot of people feel that way.
I think what's really good about Saksa that people maybe, I don't know, I haven't really read much of the conversation about it, but Saksa is very Jerax-like in his communication. From what I can gather, obviously I don't have like the best inside scoop, but from what I've talked to people before, he's the kind of guy who's going to talk when it's necessary, but other than that, he's just going to shut up and play his game. Which I think is really needed in a lineup like this, because there's already going to be a lot of talking.
Is Saksa the guy that you and I would remark when he was playing Rasta all the time, how he would always stack the Ancients and drop wards at level 6 to like kind of power farm up real fast? Was that Saksa
who
was doing that?
Saksa did that on DC quite a bit, if I recall.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because he has a slightly greedier play style, and again, I think it can gel pretty well. Again, a good analogy. Sumail, tops, and mid one. To me, part of the value here is now you've got these players that are somewhat interchangeable. Mid one going to the 3. That was kind of how he played on Secret.
Well, hold on. I mean, do any of them play off lane though? I mean, you say interchangeable, but it's like,
well, current off lane.
I guess.
I mean, isn't current off lane pretty suited to all of these play styles in a way? Every game where you have a pretty farmed off laner that can kind of feel like a core at a decent timing is good right now.
I would say out of the 3 of them, Sumail was the least effective at space making.
Okay.
Not to say that he was a bad player, but in terms of just like, all right, this game, we need someone who goes and just makes a stupid amount of space and gets a bunch of kills and secures the game for our carry. I think out of those 3 players, Sumail's the one who I would want playing the carry the most. So I really like that.
Like, are you ready for mid one off lane Ember?
That's going to happen. I mean, I'm sure he played that on Secret. I'm like 90% sure we had games of that.
I mean, basically. And in those games, we always said, well, it's a mid Ember, just he's in the side lane and it's better than mid. And you come up with some justification. It's like, no, he's just ahead of the curve playing a fucking off lane Ember Spirit before anybody knew it was good. I'm ready for this. I'm a big mid one fan, so I admit I'm probably overstating a little, but
they're just like, imagine if Thompson has Pugna and mid one has like either if he brings one of those heroes like a monkey or something to the sideline, sure, but even just like a mid one Kunkka. Like, these guys could just run at you nonstop, be more than happy to do it, and then Sumail's going to come out of the jungle with like 40,000 net worth.
Yeah, definitely, dude. And I really like Thompson. This documentary is genius. Was it From Thompson to Godson or whatever?
Oh, I didn't see it.
They dropped
like episode 3 or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. They dropped the trailer. Did you see like that whole OG stream they did on the Red Bull channel?
No, I did not.
It was pretty hype though. Like, they did just a proper. It was kind of like a cool press conference, sort of. They were just on a panel. They had a host, and they just sort of talked and almost podcast. And Gork was there, and they just introduced all their plans and had some videos prepared. It was just a nice, polished presentation. It was cool.
Why do you think they did that?
Because it's hype and it makes their org look legitimate, not just like a ragtag Dota team, but they're building a brand that And I'm sure because Red Bull was like, guys, we could do something cool here. And Red Bull's obsessed with being fucking cool.
Very true. It's really interesting because like have they done the bet? Like, let's compare it to Team Secret, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever watched Team Secret play any other game? Like, I've never felt compelled to tune into Team Secret's. I don't even know, Rainbow Six, Fortnite, Rocket League.
No.
To me, like, I don't really care. But part of the reason why OG makes me want to watch their shit is because it's like, oh hey, like OG, like I see OG talking about their CS:GO team, and that makes me want to watch it. You know what I mean? Like I see NoTail commentating about them and like hyping them up and getting excited. They went to the summit and watched like they went on the couch at the summit for a CS:GO.
Yeah.
As NoTail. That's amazing. And you don't have that crossover stuff on like Secret or anything. And I feel like they're actually doing an incredible job. Sure, maybe it's easy when you have 2 TI money as an org to do that stuff, but they're definitely capitalizing on it.
I mean, I'm glad to see them reinvesting in the esports ecosystem. And like, I think it's really smart that Seb's sort of taking a step back and going a level higher kind of on an org side now. And you can have a really positive impact on the ecosystem if they, commit to an OG seed squad and still try to bring up players. I see it as a way of passing the torch kind of. And I'd rather them do that than just retire and sit around on their money and go, well, fuck Dota. I don't care about that shit anymore. I mean, this is, to me, just the natural evolution of winning 2 TIs. Yeah, super hype though. I'm with you. I'm really becoming a big OG fan now.
Yeah, I'm actually like kind of a huge OG fan. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm just so impressed. Really, I'm not even like a big fanboy. I'm just like, damn, that's awesome. Yeah. Plus, like I don't know, we kind of know them, and it's nice when you actually know these guys are like friends. Yeah. And nice people. Yeah,
yeah. And it's also like Thompson he truly has one of the craziest trajectories, and I like that he's starting to embrace it now. At TrueSight and some of the Q&A, he's just like, well, I've only been in the scene for about a year now. It's like, yeah, it's kind of true. He just came out of nowhere and exploded. I interviewed him on press day of the first TI that he played at, and it's like to see him then and where he's at now. Obviously, he's still a relatively reserved person, but it's almost like night and day how much he's changed and grown into the role, and it's a lot of pressure, man. I mean, he seems to handle it very easily, but I think he makes it look easy, right?
He definitely does make it look easy. Man, he was looking fucking fly. I mean, I see you guys in chat talking about it. I think we can all agree. God damn. Thompson won that showcase.
That did 100% shout out to OG for stepping up the clothing game. I really appreciate that. There has been a complete lack of attention to clothing in esports, generally speaking, kind of criminally so in Dota in some cases. So I like that they've upped it in a way it's cool, it's stylish, it's wild, and it's them, but it's still classy.
Very
cool.
Classy.
So, all right, let's talk about TrueSight and then dive into this patch.
I love it.
Overall thoughts. Personally, best TrueSight so far.
Yeah, my instant reaction was like I was watching the end of it because I was just hanging out with the baby, Grant, just chilling. That's gonna get confusing for you guys, I know. Sorry, my apologies. But we were hanging out, and I was just watching the end of it, and Sarah, my wife, was in the room, and I was just like, man, I love Dota. It's like I love TrueSight. I love these guys. Like just being able to see all the emotions and everything. It's just like, God, it's so good.
And she's just sitting there like, yeah, I wish you felt that way about the fucking baby.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Ogling Dota.
I actually showed her last year's TI. She watched it with her parents, and they all really liked it.
Really?
They thought it was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they thought it was super interesting, and it's such a good way to introduce it to family and friends. I think. 100%. I think last year's TrueSight, from my perspective, was better for an outside fan. I think for a hardcore Dota fan, this TrueSight's better because it felt like there was more strategy involved. Whereas last year they kind of sold the like East versus West underdogs. Like there was way more storyline last year compared to this year. This year they literally drop you as at the time Liquid win their lower bracket and they just like go into the grand finals. Yeah,
So I think that's good though because if it's implying that you should watch it as a series, and if you've gotten some of that story, gotten some of that context, and even as a casual viewer, you
True.
kind of understand the, okay, lower bracket, I know what that means now. Grand finals is really the big hype shit. I think that's a brilliant strategy because it helps merge some of those casual fans to go a level deeper. And now they've created something that resonates even stronger with the people like us that are like, holy shit. And then we got to even see the bonus content of the players watching the video and interacting with each other.
Oh man, some of those moments were so funny.
And yeah, you just see it's team versus team when they're in the boxes, but it's so much more than that. And these players have cross-pollinated so much over the years and played together and against each other in different combinations at different times. They've all kind of helped each other get to this point, and to see that mutual respect, like, I'm getting chills thinking about like some of the scenes right now, man. It's sick. It's fucking insane how well they've captured that emotional aspect and condensed it into something that's digestible and just like, fuck, man. This makes me proud to be a part of Dota,
Yeah, I turned on the Madden Championships last night because I saw it on Twitch, and Sarah and I were hanging out with a baby, and I was showing her why Melee is the greatest game of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And even when she watches Melee, she gets it now because she's like played enough at work before because they had a Melee setup at her workplace, which is awesome, by the way. But she like kind of gets it enough. And then I was showing her the other console games because like I find Melee and Dota are extremely similar. They're both filled with like a lot of respect between opponents. Sure, there's trash talk and stuff like we have in Dota, but there's like always this respect of just like, damn, you're better than me and you beat me. But then we were watching Madden because Madden was on because I saw it on the little Twitch sidebar, so I opened it up, and you see these console gamers, and they're like, if something happens in the game, they're like popping off and standing off in the middle of the game, like screaming the other guy's face. I was just dying. I just like, can you imagine if like No Tail was watching True Sight next to Kuro and just like, you guys are so bad.
Yeah. No soundproof booths. Just look across, just like, yeah, nice pass, dipshit. Yeah, nice run there, dummy.
I don't know. There's like, I feel like console gamers, like when it comes to those sport games, especially, you can just blame the AI. I think those are terrible esports. This is gonna be a little tangent, but I actually I'm not interested in professional FIFA. I'm not interested in professional Madden. I won't be interested in professional NHL if they do any of those games, because the idea of an AI controlling the other 4 or 10 people on the field is like the dumbest shit ever.
Well, NBA 2K, dude.
Like those games need to have like 5v5, like the NBA 2K.
Yeah, the problem with that though is, aren't the shot mechanics still kind of RNG? I don't know how it works. I've never played.
Well, at that point, why aren't you just watching basketball?
Well, yeah, I mean
that's the real issue. I can't go play Dota outside. I can't watch the best in the world, some guy lifting weights for 20 hours a day so that he can cull through someone's skull, right? Dota does not exist in this sphere. Why would I want to watch pretend basketball if it's exactly the same?
Yeah, no, I don't really get it either. And what's also funny too is, in that game, to echo your point, all their names are super ridiculous. So it's just like, yeah, the Game Slayer 97, yeah, B-ball boy, yeah, like it's really weird. It doesn't translate. But hey, man, they're pumping cash into it. It's an ecosystem.
Yeah, cash into it, not out of it.
That's one thing. The NBA and was it EA who makes it? Come on, that's one of those when people talk about sponsorships. The NBA has so many corporate connections. That's one of those like, hey, you guys just want to allocate like 2% to this esports thing? Like, all right, whatever. Cool. So, all right, 2 more things that are very quick before I want to jump into this patch. CDL launched the Call of Duty League. Did you happen to? That was right. I think amidst some of your baby action, but did you? Because this is Overwatch League, dude. Same general model.
Oh God, yeah,
same idea. Same company, Activision.
I don't
Blizzard.
even know where to talk about these two. I mean, I guess okay, first off, the idea and the scheduling of Call of Duty League makes way more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if I'm correct, you bring everyone in, you have a little mini tournament in their area, you go somewhere else, and they do another mini tournament some other weekend, right?
Something like that.
I believe that's their schedule. They're not trying to do the Overwatch thing where it's like, we're the Dallas boys and we're always playing in Dallas for half-hour games and we're going to bring all these teams in for one night. It's like, no. We're keeping a more traditional esports thing.
Just rotating
It's the weekend.
cities.
Yeah, I think that makes way more sense for video games. So I applaud that.
Yeah.
Other than that, no, I did not watch any of it.
I watched the premiere and the production was good. I
Do
think
they
it was
play
better.
on controllers? Just said
Yes,
they
I think
do,
they play
right?
PS4, I think.
Okay, so I don't respect this as an esport.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever. I think it makes some more sense too because it is very regional. Like Call of Duty is disproportionately popular in North America compared to other esports. So the idea of moving around big cities in NA is actually kind of hype. I think the production was good. I don't know anything about the game, but they broke it down in a way that I could definitely understand. I mean, I played like Modern Warfare 2 when I was in fucking university, but I guess the bigger side piece to this news is the day before the league started, they announced that all of the Blizzard universe is now going to be Google territory. It's going to be YouTube Live, all YouTube, no Twitch. So that means Twitch is not going to have Overwatch League. It's not going to have CDL. It's not going to have Hearthstone. That shit is all YouTube now.
Hearthstone. I love that little afterthought of the announcement, by the way. That fucking killed me. I actually kind of like bent over laughing when I saw that Hearthstone was on the list. I was like, who the hell still cares about Hearthstone?
I don't know. And the weird thing too is I think a lot of the viewership comes from community streamers. So like the streamers are still on Twitch. They're not all going. It's not like the content is exclusively on YouTube. It's just the official Hearthstone events are on YouTube. So
I don't know what the hell that was all about.
That's why I wore my Twitch shirt today just to really make it proud and loud of which team I'm on. Definitely Team Twitch here, boys and girls. So I honestly, this might not be a bad deal for Blizzard because it is a way for them to show cash on paper to all these investors. I bet Google paid too much for this bullshit, and
well, we all know Twitch paid too much.
Yeah, so I think Twitch is sort of just like,
oh, I guarantee Twitch is happy with this.
You know what? Go ahead, Google. That was. Do you remember the most epic tweet of like the last decade when they announced YouTube Gaming Live and Twitch tweeted at them, "Welcome Player 2"? Do you remember that tweet? That shit. If you just Google "Welcome Player 2" or whatever, it'll pop up. It was just such a good slam of just like friendly kind of fuck you, but at the same time, perfectly accurate of like, what have you been waiting for, man? We already got the market share, so welcome to the party.
Yeah.
You're forever Player 2. It's just, I don't know. I think about that tweet regularly these days.
It's pretty excellently
so
savage.
Well.
Yeah.
So,
jeez. Yeah, I don't know. And then Overwatch League. I mean, have you seen the other? I thought this is where we're going with Overwatch League. Have you seen the news about their heroes?
No.
Oh, I love it when I get to break the news to you live on camera. All right, Zyori. So what do you do if you can't figure out how to competitively balance your game, my friend? Think about introducing bans like Dota has.
Yes.
And that the players kind of do their own hero pool banning. But according to Overwatch, they said, no, we don't want hero bans because the same heroes are just going to get banned every day anyway.
Well, they don't have a deep pool. Isn't that part of the problem with bans? There's not that many
heroes. It's a little bit of a problem. Well, what if I told you that they're going to ban a select few heroes every week based on the most played heroes from the weeks before?
So whoever
Welcome
has
to the Overwatch hero pool.
So whichever heroes are at the top of the playlist, so like the meta heroes, will be banned, but it'll rotate because once they're banned, some new hero will take the slot of most played within that week. So it's all these little weekly mini metas that keep rotating. Aren't you just going to have the same like 4 heroes that keep alternating getting banned because if they're in the pool, they're going to get picked and then it... Am I misunderstanding?
No, that would be my first thought.
5 of the 30 are gone. Okay, so 5 of the 30. What percentage? Yeah. Okay, how many Dota heroes are there and how many get banned compared to 5 out of 30? What's the percentage differential here?
Aren't there like 10? There's 12 bans.
12
right?
bans.
Team.
And what, like 125 heroes or something?
Yeah, so we're working like 10%-ish, like 10 to 13% or whatever.
Okay.
And they're doing, what is it, 5 out of 30?
No, we're less.
1/6?
Yeah, okay, so we're 10%. And what is 5 out of 30? Let's just quickly do
That's 1 out of 6.
Yep, that's 16%. All right, so it's not that bad. It's still 50% more than Dota, 60% more. Ugh.
Yeah, It's I don't know. That sounds a little insane to me. It's like taking the power away from the players. I believe I thought Monte Cristo's tweet was pretty good, where he was like, "This basically makes Overwatch League ranked.
It
It's
dummy
like
proofs
ranked
the
gameplay."
strategy. It makes the strategy like, well, we're just going to go ahead and ban the meta heroes for you, so you don't have to think about it. So I mean, they might as well be playing with controllers, dude.
Well, the best person I saw was the assistant coach and analyst for the Toronto Defiant, which is an Overwatch League team. And he said the hero ban system tests for adaptability more than peak performance. It will make matches less predictable, more exciting for fans, and put emphasis on flexibility. It will decrease the level of play. It basically maximizes the difference between esports and traditional sports, which I think is a very true thing. And as he continues, while in traditional sports you play on the same field with the same rules, abilities, all the time, most esports have been frequent changes because of patches. Who is the best at doing the same thing versus who is the most open to change, whether you like this or not, is up to you. So I thought that was a pretty good way of putting it, though.
Yeah, overall, I guess I agree. I mean, they do change the rules in sports. Like sometimes with North American football, the rule changes like drastically. Old records just don't make sense anymore because you can't do that shit anymore. So they definitely alter the meta of real sports, but not as much as video games. It's definitely a few degrees removed from that.
It is. It's so strange. Yeah, I don't even know. Like, because I saw people theorizing. They're like, okay, so like, let's say you're playing a shit team this week and you have a good team in the next week. Would it be worth it for your team to pick heroes you don't want to get banned for the next week?
It seems counterintuitive to general, strategy or something. I mean, is that how you would balance chess or some shit, for example?
No queens.
It's so robotic and stupid. It reminds me of that quote they had with Hearthstone when they were adding more RNG elements, and people were like, well, isn't this bad for the competitive environment? And one of the devs said, kind of, but you can always just play in the next tournament. We found that the fans really like watching RNG mechanics. It's like, yeah, because we like watching people cry, dude, because it's fun to laugh at how dumb this game is, not because it's a good competitive mechanic. It's not fun to play even. It sucks when you get RNG'd out of stuff.
Here's the problem. They have had issues balancing their game. They had that GOATS meta with like the super tanky heroes, and the games weren't exciting to watch. And they're struggling to find a way to fix that. First, they introduced the lock or whatever, right? The role lock, where you had to have so many of each role on your team. And even then, that wasn't enough to like try and make the game more exciting to watch. So now they're just going to be like, we're just going to slap, chop, dice up these rosters. You guys got to figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I don't know. I'm getting more and more cynical about Blizzard by the day.
Oh, yes.
So last one, promise.
We're going to have to put a notification at the start of this video to say skip to 50 minutes if you want to hear about the patch, because we haven't even talked about Reforged yet.
Dude, we have to. Reforged has been one of the biggest flops in recent memory that it's mind-blowing because it's the same fucking game. And World of Warcraft Classic was a big hit. I've been playing it. They did it almost perfect. They found a solution to so many players at the beginning. They added layering, all this kind of shit. WoW Classic was good. And now with Warcraft 3, they've deleted the old client that worked well and replaced it with the new one that's completely riddled with bugs.
Dude,
it's gone from like 1 gigabyte to 26 gigabytes of memory space on your computer. Blizzard now owns 100% of all rights to all custom games, period, no contest, so no one's going to make any fun custom games. You can't put anything in there that has any IP infringement whatsoever, so cool. Say goodbye to your Pokemon battles and your themed
Dragon
Ball
Z's and
yeah. And then
that
on top
was the
of
part that killed me, is they killed the old client.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Why? You had this old thing that was fine. Just leave it there. Just don't, like, what are you going to delete? StarCraft Brood War 2? Why?
Well, they
Why
did the same
delete
thing
it?
to Brood War.
Huh?
When they updated Brood War, they did the same thing. That's
Did
what
they?
people are saying.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I missed that memo. I guess they didn't botch it as much, so people didn't fucking care. But so the other big thing is that they didn't do some of the shit they said they were going to do. They were going to redo all the cinematic cutscenes. The trailer that they showed that got me to buy it was epic as shit. I was like, oh my God, dude, I'm going to watch this thing in 4K. I'm going to buy a new monitor. I'm going to play this campaign all the way through. I am hyped. I bought it on the spot. They didn't do it. They scrapped it. It's just like slightly updated graphics from the original game. And a lot of the models don't even really look that amazing. It's clunky and shitty. There's no hotkey remapping, so you still can't do any custom hotkeys. Like, what are you doing,
I saw
guys?
that, and they didn't update the UI either.
Yeah, they didn't update
which
the
was
HUD.
Another thing they said they were going to do.
Yeah, the HUD is exactly the same. It's just a little smaller, and now they made it like trimmed in to accommodate for widescreen monitors. That was the change. Like, fuck you, man. It's beyond bait and switch. It's just, it is a straight fuck you to their hardcore fan base, and it's just mind-blowing. I know big corporations do this where they blow up and it's just all about money, and the board's like, well, why are we spending all this money on cinematics? Is that going to get anybody else to buy the game? No, probably not. Well, then fuck it. Just cut it. Well, we already announced it. Well, fuck it. Who cares?
They'll get over it.
You know? And they didn't even take it down from the website. It still says all that shit's like coming in the game if you buy it right now.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I haven't checked today, but when I tweeted that shit yesterday or whatever, it was like that was a screenshot live on their website.
Oh wow! I thought that was like from the announcement at like BlizzCon.
No, dude. But I'm gonna see if I can find the official website right here and pull it up. I think it's playwarcraft3.com. Azeroth Born Anew. Yeah, it's still there. 40+ hours of epic gameplay with 4+ hours of reforged in-game cutscenes.
Wow.
That's false advertising is still fucking there. You can rebind, but you got to script it and shit. You can't just do it through the UI.
That's so crazy that it's not in the the options.
Yeah, dude.
Like, come on.
So it's just one of those things. Like, you guys were better off just not touching this.
That's actually insane.
So I'm so out on Blizzard. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it kind of killed my hype for Diablo. That was my first reaction to all this news. Was like, I still like Diablo. I know Diablo 3 sucked at launch, but by the time I played it, I had fun.
Yep.
And I enjoy Diablo, and I was looking forward to Diablo 4 with the Druid. And now it's just making me like, I don't know, guys.
Yeah, they're really gonna have to wow me for me to open up the wallet again. I'm gonna keep playing Classic as long as it's fun, but I think that this subscription is the end for me. Once this is done, I mean, there's gonna have to be something crazy that happens for me to hop aboard. A Diablo 2 remake.
Who wants a remake after you just saw this remake?
Well, I mean, Diablo 2 is basically unplayable right now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, that game's a good bit older than Warcraft 3, so it's not even, you need to load special Windows settings and stuff.
Oh, for the original Diablo, you mean?
Yeah, like Diablo 1 or Diablo 2. If they did one of those as a remake, I would maybe give it a try. I would not pre-order it. Learn my lesson there, but I would consider buying it after seeing the reviews. Let me put it that way.
Okay. We did it. Take a timestamp here for the poor audio listeners.
38 minutes.
Later, people.
On the dot.
38 minutes.
I'm going to write it in my notes here. I'm going to actually do a timestamp today. 38 minutes. Patch 7.24. Well, that was good, though. You had a week off. A lot of news came out, to be fair.
It's true.
This is that crazy time. So 7.24, some big changes. Let's start with the general changes, and then we'll kind of pick and choose with heroes and items that specifically we wanted to talk about. Some big macro stuff here, though. Heroes now have a dedicated neutral item slot, and you can only hold one neutral item at a time to be equipped on your hero. I think you can still hold others in your backpack to move them around, correct?
That is correct.
So, but you can only use one at a time. And there's also a neutral stash at the fountain now with a UI, so you can trade stuff in and out of the fountain instead of just dropping it on the ground, which is a nice little quality of life change. And the backpack count has been reduced from 4 to 3, and they've changed some of the other stuff with these neutral items. So that in a vacuum is huge. I read this and was like, oh my God, thank you.
Yes. I'm a huge fan of all the neutral changes at this point, personally. I think we discussed the idea of the one slot and how that would help limit the impact of neutral items while still making them kind of an enjoyable, excitable thing.
Yeah.
I will say my first reactions after playing it is definitely now I just kind of wish they were gone. But they're still here. I'm still dealing with neutral items. I'm annoyed at the hotkey issue. I really need some way to change my hotkey because, like, at one point in the game today, I had the net, so I wanted it on C, so I could use it instantly. But then I got my Yules, and I was like, okay, well now I want my Yules on C, and then my net's now been replaced by the Philosopher's Stone. So I was literally just going the options and changing my hotkey throughout the game.
Yeah.
Which is pretty annoying. I don't know. There should just be a way to drag the neutral slot itself onto the slot. That would be my solution. But it is literally just another hotkey. I'm actually running out at this point. Kind of crazy. I use both mouse buttons, and I use what else do I use? At ZXC and then space. I use V. Like, damn, dude. There's not a lot. Now I got a G added in there too.
Yeah, I'm looking at the keyboard like, yeah, you're right. I don't have much else. Because I can use more numbers eventually. Okay, that's a relatively small problem though in the grand scheme of this change. I just love that it makes the neutral items more impactful. Like, you really have to think about what's the one that you want to use. And I like that for some of these mid laners that really power farm the jungle, like Storm was the first one I thought of, and he's just filling up his inventory with neutral items. This feels a little more balanced. You know, it still didn't quite feel right for a couple heroes that could just vacuum the jungle.
My personal, I don't know. At this point, I think I wrote this in the notes, but to me, neutral items have now become buffs. They're not. They don't even feel like items. They feel like something that I'm just gonna have for a certain period of time, but I cannot augment my hero build at all based on this item anymore. Whereas before with neutral items, you would get something and say, okay, now I don't have to buy this, or okay, now I can buy my BKB early. But now it's just a buff where I'm going to have this for so much time, and I know I'm going to have to get rid of it very quickly. Or I was playing the game where I had the Philosopher's Stone and the trusty shovel, so I was literally just shifting in the shovel to dig, to then put it back in my backpack to put my Philosopher's Stone in while I waited for the double cooldown because I still wanted that chance at a bounty rune. I don't know. They're feeling a little clunky.
That definitely sounds clunky, although that is somewhat situational. I guess I was visualizing more often where there's a clear item that's just better for you. Like, all right, I'm Bat Rider. I got the Keen Optic. I'm using the Keen Optic, you know? This makes the buffable items a lot better also, right? Like Royal Jelly.
Consumables just got, like, way better.
Yeah.
They're so much better. Like, having, what's it called? The honey or whatever?
Is it the jelly?
The Royal Jelly?
Yeah, Royal Jelly.
That thing's broken now. Mango Tree, broken.
Yeah.
They're so good. All the other tier 1 items are trash. I think Trusty Shovel should just live in the base. And someone who respawns can dig, hope for a bounty rune, put it on the ground so the timer's not going to be double duration. And that's all you use the shovel for.
Yeah, the only problem with that strat is it relies on people dying to go back to the well to use it.
Well, I play with Owen and Cheever, so, you know.
Well, there you go.
Owen's always down to dive,
yeah.
as some of you might have seen.
The shovel is great, but sometimes it is a little bit of a pain in the ass. Or you're like, I know this isn't that important, but god damn it, I still want to dig.
Exactly. It's the potential missed value. I need to dig.
FOMO, dude. And now Ancients drop neutral items at a 3x higher rate, which also was a little change that I kind of liked. It sort of makes sense, right?
I might have written in the notes there, and I actually implemented in the game. I stacked an Ancient camp a couple times while we were leading up to the 40-minute mark. So then did the second hit 40, we cleared the whole thing, got our neutrals, smoked, went for a fight. It was big brain.
Dude, that is big brain.
Didn't matter. Wasn't that cool.
But still. So next big tick item, removed shrines.
Well, hold on. I wanna talk neutrals for a second.
All right, you want to just go all the way down and then come back? Okay, I got you.
Yeah, are you down to just kill neutral items? Because I'm down.
Just write it off as a failed experiment like shrines? Is that?
Fuck them. Anyone else? I'm down. I don't think I want neutral items. I'm out on them.
I'm getting there. So one of the changes we're about to dive into here too is that they've changed the timer on the tier 5 items. So now it's not 75 minutes, it's 60 minutes, which feels a little more calibrated to me. So few of my 3,000 Dota games have gone to 75 minutes. Much more have gone to 60 minutes.
I mean, to me though, like now that's almost worse. Like I don't want these items. I don't know.
Well, I
don't
think
want
the
these
idea is
items,
that they
dude.
want games to end earlier. I don't think it's really good for anyone for Dota games to go 75 minutes. It's hard to watch. It's hard to play. That's not a good format. We want the games to be
well, hold on. What
generally.
have been your most memorable games ever?
No,
Come on.
I see
You
what
gonna
you're
pretend
saying.
like it's not those?
No, you want it to be outliers like that. I'm not saying you don't want those long games to never happen, but having a whole tier of items that require games to go 75 minutes, that's like those games are already outliers.
70.
Now you're
It was
adding
70.
outlier items on top of that. It's like compounding bullshit.
Okay, but here's my problem though. Now that it's one slot, I think they're kind of stupid. Cause like now you that's what I mean by they're like buffs. It's almost like planned obsolescence. Like I know sure there's items that you buy for less gold and it's the same thing there, but at least I know I can keep that item if I want to. With a neutral item, you don't really have a choice. Like at one point we got a telescope. Well, somebody's got to carry that telescope. So like I didn't want to get rid of my item, so I made Sheever carry the telescope on Bounty Hunter because it was more important that I had the timeless relic on Bane.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's a good analogy. Maybe I think what you don't like is that they're starting to feel a little too close to the runes in League of Legends. You know, like you have this rune tree and it gives you little tweaks and little buffs. It doesn't really matter, but at the same time, it does matter a little bit because, 5% damage here, 5% mitigation here is something. Or I guess 1% really with those stupid rune trees. It just feels like, why do we have this mechanic that seems to be a big distraction that doesn't really add that much value to the overall game?
I guess what I didn't like though is that like now that it's only one slot, it means that you feel more pressured to work a lot of these later game items into your builds, and it's just it makes me less like geared up towards neutral items. Like I kind of feel like surprisingly, even though I wanted the one neutral item slot, now like actually playing with it, it makes me kind of despise them even more. Even though I think it was the correct decision. I don't agree with the idea of having all these different slots in the neutral items.
Yeah.
But I'm getting tired of them. I don't know.
No, I'm pretty.
I don't hate them. I don't hate them to an absurd degree. Still having fun with Dota. I still like getting trusty shovels. I still like getting the neutral items. But if gun to my head, someone's like, "Do you want neutral items here or gone?" I would say gone.
So I would say now that we've opened Pandora's box of removing things that have been in the game for a while, to me, these recent patches have really verified that Valve is still experimenting, not afraid to experiment. Hey, let's try it's like XP talents. That was a quick experiment. This is stupid. Or respawn talents, or even the degree before that. That was a real quick one. And GPM talents, they had a good run. And in the long run, you look back and go, fuck it. The data says this wasn't a good addition, so let's remove it and revert back to kind of the good old times. Now that we're willing to do that for some things and not others, maybe we need to ride it out a little bit longer to see if there's a better way to calibrate it. But I'm still with you that all arrows are pointing towards ain't great. It ain't even close to talents. As an example,
talents are great.
Talents are 10 out of 10.
Bringing in talents were one of the best things that happened to Dota.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I think this does. If that is 10 out of 10, I think neutral items right now are a 2 out of 10, 1.5 in comparison. They're not a 0.
You know what I like about talents is that you can just plan around them for the whole game based on what your enemy heroes are at the start of the game, and then as the game develops and you see what is the game state in right now, what talent do I need for my team to have a good chance of winning this game? That can change, not just on the heroes in the enemy team, but 10 minutes in the game, depending on if you're far behind, if you're far ahead. You can choose which talent you want. Am I turning into a core this game? Oh, I'm going to switch to this talent. These are all things that you have control over. I don't like not having control over my item slot. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're
I'm
not
slowly
a gambler.
talking myself out of neutral items, and I want to like them. But I think I've fully convinced myself that I'm done with them.
Yeah. So, and now they've been tweaked quite a bit across the board to compensate for these changes. The tier 5 items need to be calibrated to come into the game a little bit earlier, and these earlier items all kind of needed to be buffed a little bit, except for the really broken ones, because you have an opportunity cost now. You can only pick one. So some of them, it's like, why would I ever want this piece of shit when I could, have the trusty shovel or the keen optic, for example? Like Iron Talon was the big one. plus 15 attack speed. All of a sudden, that's all right. I have a reason to use this item in some situations, perhaps. I think if you didn't touch Iron Talon, it would just be a dumpster that sits there and nobody uses.
Alas. I mean, again, I'm not saying that they need to be destroyed or Dota is going to die and that they're terrible. I would just say that I would prefer Dota without them, is how I would say it. But anyway.
Okay.
On from there. Shrines, you brought it up.
Yeah.
They're gone. Dota or Valve do not take out a lot of stuff. When they add something, they tend to keep tweaking it forever and not give up on it. Respawn talents, XP talents, shrines, GPM talents. So seeing, as you were kind of putting out, like this idea of removing them is like, wow, okay, kudos Valve. I appreciate this.
Yeah.
I was shocked to see shrines go though. Did you find that surprising?
I was more surprised about that than GPM talents, for example. I find it interesting that they pretty quickly halved them and then removed them. It's all right, we got 4 shrines, let's cut it down to 2. Not that long after, fuck shrines. Like, things devolved quickly once we started opening that box and going down the rabbit hole.
Now, they probably would have stayed if it wasn't for Outposts, though, because they basically had to die so that Outposts could remain. And I will say, personally, I like Outposts. I actually am a huge fan of Outposts. I think where Outposts were before was really stupid. I think where Outposts are now, the idea of actually controlling that space means something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in our game that we were just playing, we were controlling the enemy Outpost. And we were trying to go high ground, okay? Guess what happens if you try to go high ground, guys? You kill a couple guys, but they all buy back. They start defending. When we died, we bought back TP to our Outpost that we had taken on their side of the map, and we got on the fight pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
Even with a long timer, at least it means you don't have to buy boots of travel on a support to be able to get back into a high ground siege when you're winning the game. So I am actually, like, the new positioning of Outposts is actually sick.
I think we found this right middle ground. I remember when all the first patch dropped and all of it was in. It's like neutral items, shrines, outposts. I had some of the most fun playing those pubs because it wasn't Dota. It was just chaos. As Slacks kind of mentioned, like, it almost felt like I was playing a custom game. You know,
the 5-minute timers and all that.
Yeah, because people didn't know what to prioritize. Stuff wasn't calibrated. So if you just played around the changes of like, all right, I'm just going to fight for every outpost. I'm going to fight over every rune as a support. You're getting super fed. Dude, my win rate was like 80% or something. I felt like a god. And then I started playing again 3 or 4 weeks later. I'm like, oh, this is hard again. There's not as many just random things distracting people from the actual Dota that needs to be played here. And now this is getting closer to that middle ground of, you know, we had old Dota that was maybe a little too one-dimensional, and then we had crazy Dota with items and shrines and woo, everybody fight over all of it. And now it's just Outposts. And Outposts are this great middle ground that kind of make up for the lack of shrines, but also give you a little more.
I think they're sick. I think they're so sick. Like,
Yeah.
I think their positioning is actually going to help improve Dota so much. I am a gargantuan fan. Like, the idea of trying, like, let's say you're Radiant and you want to go Roche, and you're, like, slightly winning the game. You're a little bit ahead. You should be going for Roche anyway. Before, with a Shrine, unless you crack the tier 3, you couldn't destroy the Shrine. So Dire was always going to have a good chance of fighting you at Roche.
Yeah.
Now as Radiant, you go, you take that high ground, you ward all around it, you take the Outpost, then you start Roshing. If they don't take the Outpost, you can buy back and get back into that fight now. And it's like the winning team has an advantage now thanks to where the Outposts have been moved to. Whereas where the Outposts were before, I would say the losing team, it was almost better for, because it was virtually impossible to guarantee you were going to have both Outposts 40 minutes in the game, even if you're up 15k, because some moron on the enemy team is just going to smoke to one of the two and capture it. Yeah. And it's like, oh, they just got free XP.
No,
but
you're right.
At least now they're like in the middle of the map where you're supposed to be playing Dota, not in this stupid previous side shop graveyard.
I mean, I definitely started noticing that the more games we cast with the Outposts, the more often it would just split 50-50, kind of no matter the state of the game. It was pretty rare for one team to just grab both Outposts and hold them for 20 minutes straight. We almost never saw that at like the group stage of DreamHack that we were casting, or the qualifiers before that. So, yeah, this is good. I have no complaints.
Yeah, big fan. And now the vision. Keep this in mind, guys. The vision is very different. They don't act as like big wards for you now, since they're in like a more important part of the map.
It's ground vision, not flying
Yes.
vision. So flying vision's like when you're on top of a plateau and you get to see that full circle. Now trees get in the way.
And they still give the true sight, but it's been halved as well, so down to 700.
That's
not
good.
quite as good. Just stops people from like warding directly on top of it.
Void Spirit, Snapfire added to Captain's mode. Biggin, are they both ready? Do you think they're both tier 1, like first pick, first ban material, or where are we at?
Void got nothing. What about Snap? Did she get a little touch up before they added? She got base damage reduced by 4, and the Fire Snap cookie no longer moves people in Black Hole, Kinetic Field, and Chrono. So
that's fair.
Yeah, still no Scepter. I agree. What's up with that? Where are the Agnibs? What are we waiting for? They're the only 2 heroes without Ags.
They're just slow rolling the content, dude. Come on now. That's your milking announcements, baby. Why do it all at once when you can spread it out over a period of time?
I thought they would get those tested in pubs before they added the Ags. That was one of my thoughts, but apparently not. So,
Snapfire,
I'm happy to have them.
I've heard pretty universally positive things. Void Spirit, he is really fallen off. He felt like broken at first until people started figuring him out. And I think a lot of folks realize that he's a little one-dimensional, and yeah, he's somewhat elusive, but if you have enough stuns and control, he's kind of paper thin and, you know, kind of easy to grab. I haven't been seeing him in pubs nearly as much. I mean, do you think he's good? He feels like a kind of a PA-esque hero to me. He can pop off. He's really scary. In the right hands, if you build around him, I could totally see him excelling in games, but he's not like an insta-pick, oh shit kind of hero to me right now.
Well, so far in that Hainan League, Snapfire has been banned in the first phase most games, and if she wasn't banned, she was picked up.
Okay.
So she's
up there.
Yeah, she's high on the list.
Gotcha.
Void Spirit only got picked in a couple games and not banned that often. Just like a couple bans. He went 1-1, it looks like, in the 2 games that I see here. Oh, no. Looks like Forzy beat Ursus Gaming. So he's seen a little bit of play, but by far more attention on Snapfire, which I think is fair. I think she can probably play support as both roles, and her ulti is just busted.
Yeah. The damage output, not so.
Yeah, she's crazy. So, no, happy to have them in. Very excited to watch Granny Lizard in her professional matches.
Yeah, me too. I still love the modeling on that character. Big fan. So let's see. What else do we have here? The current buyback cost tweaked. Now the upfront is much higher. So it's like a nerf to early game buybacks.
Right.
So probably see a little bit less of those.
It's a little bit more on those cores that are trying to catch like a double wave coming into the tower. Also hurts supports. Even in like kind of like that first Roche fight timing, an extra 100 gold's a little painful, but in the end, supports are so much more gold now that it's probably not going to matter all too much.
Yeah, relatively minor. Bonus range on melee attacks against Observer and Sentry Wards. When I read that, I went, oh, thank God. I think we've all played those games where you're ogre and you're looking at that ward just like, come on, this club is so big. I know you can reach, big boy.
I don't know how I feel about the changes to not being able to quell or tango wards anymore. I kind of like that.
Didn't it get a little lame? I liked it when that was like a niche, edgy thing to do of, okay, that's a Rubik with a quelling blade and look at the value. And then once that becomes the established meta, it's just you're required to burn another item slot if you don't have tangos. And it's too quick. I don't know. There's not enough room for counterplay. I think now that people have to actually attack wards, it lets you actually have a chance to defend wards.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. It is so much harder to de-ward when you have to go for 2 attacks. It sounds kind of stupid, and it's like, oh, how much worse is it? But when you're that CM, and you go place that sentry and you see the Observer ward, you can't just, like, click it and run away.
Yeah.
You have to, like, right-click once, and you're like, yeah, I'm dead.
It was too good before. It's, you know.
It was too good. I will agree with that, but made support life a little bit harder again. Or easier, I guess, depending how you look at it. Your ward should be more likely to survive now, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I always go back to that. Dota is a game of risk reward, and mechanics like that there's not enough risk involved in dewarding when you can kill it that fast. And I think some of these courier changes are a step down that road where now courier deaths no longer disable passive income, which is okay. The bounty has been increased for courier kills. and the respawn time has also been increased. So the courier stays dead longer. So now
Just 10 seconds. So
yeah, but killing couriers is a little bit more impactful now compared to where it was. And now so this one took me, I had to do a double take. Courier can no longer plant wards at level 15.
Yep.
So the courier can plant wards before level 15?
No.
It just can't plant wards at all.
Right. All items are gone.
All just okay, and the courier can no longer use okay. So I like that. I think courier warding again, dude, you're just flying this little bird over.
I think I said this in our initial read of 7.00. I was not a fan of couriers being able to use items. I thought it was kind of a stupid thing that it just put this kind of weird, dumb skill cap thing on like 6 slotting a courier and doing weird stuff. No thanks. I don't really care for that. Yeah. So kind of glad that's gone.
Me too. Not upset. Not upset. So items. What was your big one? You're talking about Essence Ring? That was one of the ones that jumped out to me as the massive nerf.
Yeah, not having the heal aspect is like, yeah, that thing's kind of dead.
So now it basically works more akin to how you would expect with like Soul Ring, right? It just temporarily increases health and then health goes back down. It's not, the big thing is it doesn't get amplified by the healing buff mechanics like Chen Aura and shit, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to look at my notes that I had here. I think I've covered most of my notes from neutral items. The idea of them being more like a buff now because they're not really items, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I mean, the other thing is that one thing I noticed when I was watching pro games since neutral items were introduced was the games were going faster because people could commit to BKBs earlier. Or they could commit to just like damage items earlier. Like you didn't need any fluff time for stat items because a lot of your stat items came from the jungle, which was one thing about neutral items that I actually liked because it felt like it was pushing the pace a little better. And for the most part, it wasn't really an RNG thing. Like you're both going to get these like armor items or stat items or regen items or whatever. So I kind of like that aspect. As a support player, though, I think that with one neutral item slot, it's probably going to delay BKB timers a little bit again. So makes my life easier at the very least.
I do want to make mention, though, of a few specific item changes that help a bit. The repair kit doesn't do the multi-shot anymore. It's just a healing buff.
I think that's going to be a surprisingly big buff. Big nerf to the item. Because, like, part of it, why it was so good, was that the multi-shot, just clearing the creep wave right away, made it a lot harder for you to, like, battle against the HP regen.
Yes.
In the end, I kind of wish it was just removed, personally, but seems like they're going to give it one more shot with this, and I think if people still aren't happy with it, and it seems to just be like a dumb item, then it'll be
and remember
much
now
like
though,
the fusion rune.
You don't need to hold a slot on it, so it's just inherently better because it's a consumable. You just use it up, and then you don't have to worry about.
Well, if you're using it, it's probably because you're in the middle of a team fight, which means you have to swap it into your neutral item slot, which means you better hope that your neutral item's your worst item because you're not going to have it for the next 12 seconds.
No, you're right. You're right. I got.
Yeah,
I didn't think about it before I said it. That's what happened right there.
Always gets you.
Apex rune, loved this change. It's just plus 75 instead of percentage 75. That's one of those little math symbols, plus instead of times. When I saw this, I was just like, yeah, fuck you, Morphling.
Pudge.
Yeah, fuck you, Drow. On top of the fusion rune. I was happy when I saw this removed. I was also in the fuck fusion rune. This was a dumb idea. This one we didn't think this one through. Oh, yeah, but what are the chances of getting an Apex and a fusion rune when you have a Morphling? Well, fucking high enough, man. Get out of here. Just that's one of those items that we put charges on it. Does not matter. That one time use does not make this thing balanced. Sorry.
It's kind of like the whole camp of just like, look, guys, they're not gonna be the perfect neutral item, so it's fine, and blah blah blah, and then everyone was like, okay, yeah, I guess it's probably true. Like, what are the odds we're gonna get a game like that? And then no, that Reddit thread was savage. Everyone was just like, this was a Morphling that literally had enchant totem for every right click for blah, blah. How can you defend neutral items? I was like, oh man, the anti-neutral item camp just got like their dream game. Like they were They were all holding on to those comments for months.
Yeah, dude. They just needed that moment to be justified.
Yeah, it was good. But yeah, that was something. Was that Liquid Navi? Is that right? That was right.
Oh God, I'm so bad with these. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah, I don't
right.
remember what game it was, but
Yeah.
you know, for you guys who didn't see it,
Yeah, Phoenix Ash is also gone. I don't even remember what that one did.
I literally don't remember what that did. I
like-
did not look at the 70-minute items at all.
I guess
If I didn't think it looked cool, I was like, eh.
Yeah. So anyway, other big changes, heroes or items otherwise. I guess with GPM talents removed, Crystal Maiden was my first thought. I've been overusing that line of these scaling supports, partially because of that talent. She hits level 15 and just farms like crazy, and now that's been replaced with -2 second cooldown on Crystal Nova.
Yeah, shout out to DJ. He got the last good Crystal Maiden game in.
Yeah. for real, dude.
I actually made a tier list. I wonder if I lost it. I think I did. Oh no, I didn't. Nice. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can if I just put this link into incognito, does it work? No, it doesn't. Okay, hold on. I have to share this tier list with you.
Okay.
I'll just snip it to you. I made a tier list of losing their GPM talents and what it was replaced with.
Ooh, okay. I like this.
Yeah, I got you, buddy. All right, there. I have sent you a PNG, as it were.
Okay.
I don't know if you can show that to the people.
Probably.
Or if I can just imgur it, might be the easiest.
That's, I like to empower the people to do things themselves, but I think I got it this time. Just give me a moment.
Yeah, you better help them out.
Boom. There it is.
Okay,
So
they can see.
nice lots here.
Yeah.
Is Puck.
Yeah, I actually thought that the Puck talent was straight up better. So as you can see by the tiers, you have the nice law, aka this is pretty ownish talent, to the better than having the gold, to the just as good as having a GPM, to the worse than gold, but okay, it's decent, to the a lot worse, to the send help, all my talents on that tier are now ass. So that's my tier list there. So
okay.
Yeah.
No, this is pretty good. This is a great breakdown. This is brutal though. You got a lot of guys down in the send help, please.
Yeah, that's because their talents are awful. So
we've
the Puck one is absolutely busted. I don't know if you guys have tested it.
No.
But the Puck one is insane. Like, holy shit. Like, it's 450 AoE. It's crazy. Like, the size of this Waning Rift, guys, I cannot emphasize enough how gargantuan this thing is now. And they added the range, too. Like, it is crazy. Like, if you have this Waning Rift, I'm pretty sure you can just silence the entire enemy team constantly.
Yeah. I mean, Puck's was he the only level 25 gold talent?
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me reiterate. It doesn't necessarily mean that the whole talent is bad. It just means you'll literally never take the new talent. Or they're both bad. Sorry. That's what the send help frog means.
Okay.
Because Ogre's a great example. His 100 cats range is good, but GPM was better. And his new Ignite talent is terrible. It's a worthless talent. Don't ever get it.
Okay, so just for the audio-only listeners here, the send help category, we've got Enigma, Lion, Ogre, Phoenix, Silencer, Witch Doctor, and Tusk. And then the tier slightly above that, the a lot worse than gold, is Grimstroke, Wisp, Jakiro, Pudge, Veno, and Winter Wyvern.
And then the other part of it, too, it usually means that talents are just better. Or sorry, taking one of your skills is just straight up better. So, for example, the Witch Doctor one, I would rather just have more points in one of my skills than have that talent. It's like AoE Maledict. It's just like, I think both his talents are bad now. Like the 2 cask bounces are AoE Maledict. Like, you shouldn't be missing Maledict, really. And the odds, like, it's big enough now that, sure, maybe you're going to get like a free Maledict on 2 heroes, and that's cool. But I think compared to other heroes, level 15 talent, it's pretty bad.
So your other top 2, though, I want to hone in on here. The Earth Spirit and the Sky Wrath. So Earth Spirit, his was a level 20 talent, 150 GPM, and now it's been switched to 3.5 extra seconds on Geomagnetic Grip Silence. Whoa.
Yeah, so the main problem was that his was a level 20 at 150 GPM. So it was already really bad. So that already helps out. A lot of heroes have 150 at level 15. So It was already a pretty bad talent. And then the silence is pretty nutty. Like, there's definitely going to be games where that's just good.
That's 3.5 seconds is a long time in Dota 2 world. Skywrath Mage, he was a 25 GPM talent. I didn't realize that. 300 GPM at 25, now replaced with Arcane Bolt,
All right,
pierces
hold
spell
on.
immunity.
I gotta talk to chat here, guys. Chat. I see you guys are upset about the Witch Doctor placement. Let me just say that Witch Doctor is one of my most played heroes for the past couple of years. Okay? There should not be a situation where you're in the middle of a team fight in a place where you can hit 3 people with Maledict. That is why this is not that good. It's kind of cool, sure. But in reality, the odds of you being able to hit that Maledict on, like, you should just be dead.
So isn't it one of these things where when you see 100 Maledict AoE, is this one of these radius things where it actually makes it substantially larger?
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty big.
Like
I
in our
tested
head,
it.
we read
It's
that
impressive.
and think plus 100 cast range, but it's basically plus 200 cast range because you get 100 around the radius on either side.
It's kind of like what's a decay? It's like a decay size.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but who are you guys? I mean, if you guys play Witch Doctor, you should probably know that you are hitting a specific target with Maledict.
Trent, let me ask you a question. In what percentage of your Witch Doctor games are you getting Aghanim's first or second item?
Well, I like winning Dota, so not a lot of
then
them.
you're not in touch with the audience listening to this podcast. How about you fuck off with your hoity-toity, you should always be in the right position, 5K big brain strap bullshit. We're talking about arena slugfest Slaxian Dota here, dude. You tell me in that last Dota game we saw before this podcast, that Witch Doctor AoE talent wouldn't have been good? That shit would have been dope, dog. Y'all were pretty bundled up. You were like a little cocoon of Dota people getting AoE'd, man.
Dumbass doesn't even buy eggs first. Oh, that's true. He's got the +1 armor. All right, guys, I'm totally wrong. You guys got me. All right. Witch Doctor can go up to a lot worse than gold. You've all convinced me that he can be bumped up 1 tier. But in terms, I thought the Jakiro one was terrible. That one made me cringe.
You gotta read this here. What's old Jackie?
It's like +400 on what is it? +400's Dual breath range. Again, it's like
that's for 150 GPM at 20 though. So again, another pretty shit talent.
It's true. It was a bad talent, which would it kind of helped its ranking. But I think the other talent is it's what is it? -60 liquid fire attack speed. His level 20 talents are pretty bad. Like, that's a terrible level 20 talent.
Yeah.
It's not dope. It's so, like, why do you need more range for liquid? I mean, if you're initiating a fight with liquid fire, with dual breath, you got other issues, guys.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
It's terrible.
I think that if that was like 200 or 300 at level 15, I'd be more into it. But I think the level 20 marker is what makes that pretty ass territory.
Like, dual breath at that point in the game literally just clears creep waves.
Yeah.
That's all it does. Like, it should be the last skill you cast in most team fights for the should be Ice Path and then Macro Pyre and then I guess it's usually before Liquid Fire to be fair, but it's not great.
So next tier, I see Sir Action Slacks is listening. What about Techies? Can we talk about the Techies? Where was his GPM talent before? I need to get the context here.
It was pretty late, right? It was like level 20, and it was a low amount, so that's why it's better in my opinion. It was level 20, 150 again.
Okay, yeah, not that great.
I wouldn't say it's better than gold, but I don't think it's worse. I think the -28-second blast off actually sounds pretty good. I need this to be one of the ones that I'd probably be the most off on because I'm not a Techies player.
So blast off from pure to magical damage now. Does that open up a Veil of Discord build on Techies where you just run around suiciding on people?
I don't know.
Am I crazy?
But for the non-techie players out there, it puts your blast off cooldown to 7 seconds instead of 35. And apologies, Slacks, but I don't really trust any of your opinions on Techies that actually participate in team fights.
So, but yeah, that's 7. I mean, it's a level 20 talent, but 7 seconds. What's the silence on that thing? Your silence uptime. All right, what's the build here, Trent? Is there some
the silence is 7 seconds?
Some sustain items so that you can heal up every 7 seconds and then chain suicide and just keep them a perma silence, dude? Is that the Techies meta?
Well, there's the 1 second cast time. Don't forget.
Well,
if you had Timeless Relic, you could theoretically perfectly do it.
Okay, fine. Almost 100% up, 90% uptime. I gotta try this. I gotta test this out. Slacks doesn't like it because, quote, now you got to do calculations and shit.
Here's the thing about Slacks. Slacks had a 150 G. Oh, sorry. I thought he was talking about the 150 GPM talent. I think he said dead as in he liked that talent too.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It was 150. What the fuck? Yeah, he said it was incredible. Yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense for Slacks because Slacks spends a lot of his time in the trees, not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So GPM is like super good for him.
Mm-hmm.
But a Techies that actually like, now you can try and be a little more involved, which is what we're trying to do with Techies, so that he's a little bit more enjoyable to play with and against.
Now, let me throw a weird question at you here with GPM talents. Do you think there's any place for literally one, maybe two heroes to have some sort of GPM talent?
No, just get rid of them all.
Just
give them something that helps them farm better and forget about it.
All right, just totally forget about the concept. Sort of, I'm thinking of it in my head like Ogre. RNG's bad, but Ogre RNG I'm okay with because it's his thing. It makes the hero. He's calibrated around it. That's cool. Is there any hero, any situation where you could fathom somebody having a GPM talent that makes...
No, just let them... Because GPM talents are dumb. Because you get it when you're dead. I don't know. Don't like it. What if they were disabled while you're dead? I just let them farm better. Just do that instead. Don't introduce a new avenue to get gold.
Still has a GPM talent. What is
Literally, you could give them a talent that said gets double gold from creeps or something stupid. And we'll have Undyne get a Maelstrom. I don't know. I would rather go that way than a GPM talent. At least make them farm.
Make them do something. No, okay. That's totally fair.
Yeah, we do have a Philosopher's Stone. That's true. It's the last GPM thing left, but at least that's an item. It can be passed around.
Dude, you guys answered my question. There you go. That is the one circumstance. Turn it into an item so it can be moved around. That makes Philosopher's Stone special.
I mean, Midas is technically a GPM item too, right?
Well,
basically.
Yeah.
But hey, at least it has the caveat of you have to at least find creeps.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know.
There you go.
Midas feels pretty shit these days. The thing's been nerfed. Does anybody buy Midas right now?
Sniper with the cooldown talent is like okay.
Say Sniper?
Yeah, he's a cooldown talent level 10.
Okay.
So it's like...
Does Arc Warden still have a cooldown talent?
Well, he has two of them.
Is it... You used to get...
I think
he had a level 10 talent. Does he still have it?
8%, I think.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he still has it.
We saw so much Arc Warden. Now I don't remember. Were they buying Midases?
No.
None of them did?
No, because you just buy Necro 1 and that's like a better Midas.
Yeah. So, all right. If Arc Warden isn't even buying Midases... then yeah, this item's garbage, dude. He still has the 8% CDR at level 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Ogre. Oh, we forgot about Ogre. Okay, Ogre 100% you still buy Midas. Definitely. I think all rules. I think position 5 Ogre you still buy Midas. It's that good.
Isn't it funny how when that came out, it was trashed so hard. It was like, yeah, your Ogre's buying Midas. You already lost the fucking game. And now it's just like, yeah, having a greedy Ogre's not that bad.
It's actually very legit because like 2 items on Ogre now is ownage. So you don't really want to get stuck with like 1 item. So you just get the Midas so that you're going to at least get 2 more.
No, I
like getting Atos on Ogre. Big fan of that. Have you guys seen the Abyssal Blade on Ogre? Where if you multicast it, you bounce around to all of them now?
Oh, shit. Dude, right click carry
hilarious, Ogre? Dude. No, you just buy it on support.
Yeah, but let's go some position 1 Ogre. Get yourself an Echo Saber. Get yourself your Midas. Maybe a Battle Fury if you need it. Whatever you want to do.
Whatever you got to
Echo
do to
Saber
get the,
Abyssal, dude. That sounds dope. Maybe a Blink Dagger.
Yeah, it's perfect. Get the imagine if you can multicast the
let's play some pubs.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, I think what about like big item changes? We talked about neutral items. Everyone got a damage buff on everything, pretty much, right? Like everything went up by 7 damage. Anyone have a good explanation for this? Pretty much every item went up by 6 to 8 damage. I don't really know what because if anything, people should be squishier now with 1 neutral item slot. So now that neutral items are limited to 1 slot, why did the damage go up on everything?
What do you mean item? Some of them didn't. Like Radiance was reduced by 5.
Okay, but everything else went up by 6 to or 5 to.
Okay,
8.
Silver Edge went up. Mask of Madness, Armlet, Crystallis.
Oh, everything is now a multiple of 5. Oh, except for Daedalus, it's 88.
Well, but
you're right. A lot of them did get like evened out.
Well, only on the top end though. Like Armlet is still 9 to 15. Crystallis is still 38 to 45. It's all still damage ranges. So I mean, sort of, but I don't know if I really buy that.
What are you talking about? No, they're flat damage increases. As in, it doesn't give +9 damage now; it gives +15.
Oh,
They're not like attacks.
okay. No, you're right. I read it
You
wrong.
don't roll.
Yeah, no, you got it. Yeah, damage from 9 to 15. They're not ranges. My mistake. I totally misread the way this was written.
My first reaction was it had to do with like the free stout, and it's like now it's an ad, as someone else is pointing out. I didn't know if it had to do with the stout, if it had to do with the neutral items, because when all these were introduced, the damage items didn't all go up. And one of the big complaints people have had is that it feels harder to like burst people when you're ahead, especially supports. Like maybe this was
so this just makes
towards that
traditional items a step more significant compared to neutrals.
I guess so. Even though they're already automatically going to be more important now that we only get to carry one neutral item. But shout out to Necro getting buffed again.
It needs it. Nobody's
Still my
buying
favorite
Necro.
item in Dota 2. Yeah, it's useless.
It's pretty rough. Core Dazzle, still good. Arc Warden, still good. Beastmaster, not that great, but people buy it.
Same thing with Lycan. It's like, I think this is still good, but no one's really sure.
Yep.
In terms of our heroes, I don't think there's anything that like blew my mind this patch. A lot of just like nice quality of life. Obviously a lot of these were GPM based.
I think that's where the big ones came in. They were, side changes based on the macro stuff. I'm scrolling through and it's just a lot of little tweaks, multipliers, scaling
mostly
cooldowns.
Heroes that didn't get picked a lot, like CK, got some nice buffs. Makes sense. Disruptor got the nerf stick. Doom got the nerf stick.
So what is this
yada.
tiny avalanche duration reduced from 1.8 seconds to 1.4 seconds? Is that...
You know how when you avalanche, the rocks all fly out?
Uh-huh.
It's a lot shorter now.
Okay. Is that good or bad?
That's bad for Tiny. It's very bad.
100% bad for Tiny.
Yeah. There's no situation... I guess there's a situation where it theoretically could have been... It could be worse if there are BKBs coming back or something.
Because does this mean the damage happens faster now? Same amount of damage over a shorter period of time?
The damage happens faster. Yeah.
So that sounds good to me. Like you've got quote
more
but burst.
As support Tiny, it's worse, right? Because support Tiny is running up to initiate with Avalanche, and they need all the time they can get to delay them to catch up to get in movement speed range for the toss, especially against a lot of faster heroes, and for the allies to catch up.
So now there's less stun time.
Right, exactly. So it's it's like
a DPS
worse
buff.
for support Tiny, but maybe arguably better for core Tiny.
But ever so slightly. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, that one I struggled to understand exactly what the implications were. But okay. Were there any other weird ones? I'm scrolling through. I read through this and I didn't jot anything else down.
It was mostly just like nerfs. There's really nothing crazy. Yeah, I guess Undying got some big changes. I saw Purge was right away onto his...
They're still trying.
They're trying, guys. We're trying to make core Undying a thing. I really hope that it eventually happens.
Do these changes even matter,
some
though?
Nerfs.
Do these changes really matter for Undying? I'm like Tombstone and Flesh Golem tweaks, duration on Flesh Golem's a little longer. The 30 movement speed is nice. I'll give you that.
Dude, the ulti was so bad.
Yeah.
It needed something. Like, it did not feel very good.
That's a nice little buff, but I don't think that fixes the fundamental problems of Undying right now.
He's still just going to be a support that's really good if he just gets some stupid bounty at 14 minutes in the game. And he suddenly gets 800 gold, and you're like, oh shit, I'm actually good, guys. Or if your team has like an unbelievable amount of catch, then he feels okay. But the support role really needs catch and stuns and slows, and he just doesn't do anything. Tombstone is like a slow, but you can't, you can't really just go into it.
Shout out to whoever just mixed our Redzall in chat. The Nyx Assassin changes. I actually had skipped over this one. Vendetta is now pure damage instead of physical.
Yeah,
dude,
it's much better.
That's awesome. So he lost a GPM talent, and level 10 now he's plus 0.3 seconds on Impale Stun. Let's check the Trent Facts board of knowledge here. That's a worse than gold, but okay.
That seems fair.
But still, stun duration on Nyx. He's a setup hero. That's not a bad talent by any stretch.
Yeah, I played him earlier, actually.
The way they scaled the damage, so Vendetta damage was reduced at level 2 and level 3 to try to make up for the difference of pure to physical, but level 1 Vendetta is still 250. So level 6 Nyx just got a straight buff. And that's
Yes,
huge for this
100%.
hero because he's like playmaker around timings. That's when he needs that little extra bump to find kills and shit and get his snowball going.
Yeah, the physical was kind of stupid because you just kept losing it as the game progressed, as their armor went up, and there's no way for you to reduce their armor unless you're going to buy a Deso. So, not really great.
I kind of want to play some Nyx, dude. It's been a hot minute since I played a Nyx assassin game.
I mean, I had an okay game. It was like, I think there's a lot of games where you're probably just going to put more levels into mana burn because you always end up leveling it last, but there's some games where you still really want it. So it might feel better than the 0.3 impale stun if you have decent stuns on your team. But yeah, a third of a second's a lot in a tight team fight. So
it's
I had a
AoE
puck that kept using himself, so he got really fucked up by that talent.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
And as people are pointing out, that was the big change is that you can, I think, perfectly time the meteor hammer now.
Oh, really? It's mechanical.
Yeah.
Where is the?
Oh god, poor Ogre. I can't even look at that talent. Plus 20 ignite DPS. Feels bad, man. Awful. It's a worthless talent.
Yeah, that's.
I do not see the point. Like compared to cast range, it's just for the love of God, don't ever get ignite. Please. For the love of your teammates.
Cast range is so ridiculously good on that hero. Yeah. To me, that's like 100-0 sort of.
This could double the damage Ignite does, and I still wouldn't take it. I'm not even kidding. If this was plus 50 burn damage instead of plus 20, I'd still no.
Yeah.
No cares.
Yeah. I think the only time I would ever take that is
it would do 800 magical damage, and I still wouldn't take it. You know why, guys? Because it can be dispelled, and it means your stun's going to be shorter. And I would rather just have my stun be better than Ignite.
Yeah.
I will say one thing. I was surprised at how much damage you do in the middle of a team fight if you get off a big multicast of the Ignite.
It's not like nothing.
Kind of cool, but cast range is just so much better.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially because you want to buy items on this hero anyway because you're buying a Midas and you're trying to multicast your items, so it's just like cast range is too good.
Yep. No doubt.
Yep.
All right. Well, a good patch. This is, I'm going to play some Dota this weekend. I am super excited. This is a lot of good changes. I'm very happy about the current state of Dota and makes me very excited for the next set of qualifiers. 10 days away until this next heat of the circuit begins. Qualifiers for minor and the major. Then we'll have a break and then another minor. What is it? Is it Star Ladder's the minor and then ESL Los Angeles is the major?
I know the major's right. I actually don't remember what the minor is. That sounds right though. Yeah, I think you're right. I'm pretty sure it's at the Cyber Arena.
Yes. And then we still don't know what minor number 4 or minor number 5 are going to be. It's the mystery there.
Wow. I love mysteries.
I love mysteries. Very cool, Trent. Well, congratulations on the baby, bud. How's life? How you adjusting? Everything good? Everything nice over there?
He slept the first night in the hospital. He slept like the whole night. See? Nice. Easy baby. And last night at 2 a.m. he was due for a feed, and I had to put a cold cloth on him to try and wake him up. Classic. Sometimes they just won't sleep, and then other times they're like, "Nah, I don't feel like getting up." And you're like, "Well, you need to eat, dude." So don't worry, he's not jaundiced or anything. Any of you baby experts out there, don't worry, he's good.
That's good.
Just was sleepy. But yeah, he's been very good. We were really lucky with Clifford. He was an extremely good sleeper. So far, so good with Grant. So
sweet.
I'm down to be 2 for 2.
So I see 2 comments in chat I want to acknowledge real quick. Number 1, I saw an article about this morning. The coronavirus. The next star ladder is that a China star ladder?
No, there's no way.
No, because it's a star ladder Imba TV minor. It's in Kiev.
No, okay. It's in Kiev.
But China has some events have been canceled now. Some of the Overwatch ones, they canceled live studio audience and stuff. I saw that Delta just canceled all flights between America and China.
Air Canada.
Yeah, maybe Canada too. North America and Asia, I guess, or I guess it's just China. But either way, this actually has big impact in terms of esports. There's a lot of esports events in China, and there's already a list that is forming of events that are thinking about postponing, rescheduling, canceling, making immediate accommodations. Like this shit is
Well, I know
wild.
Some of the VG players weren't. Well, someone just said in the chat, some of the VG players weren't able to go home.
Oof.
And so now, how do you guarantee though that even though they didn't go home, do you still bring China to the land? Like, what is the ruling there? Do we, like, should the Chinese team even be allowed to come? Are you
Yeah,
endangering all the other players?
yeah, dude. I don't know.
I don't know.
And that's
I don't want to be like,
no.
like,
It's
what do you
really
do?
really tough decisions.
Oh, they are skipping the major though. That's a good point, actually. But what about the Chinese qualifier, for
Yeah.
example? Like,
No, it's exactly. It's really, really big
I don't know.
decisions, and we don't have time for snow days, dude. We don't have any buffer in this schedule. If one of the majors gets fucked up where Chinese teams can't qualify and play or attend or whatever the issue is, that has huge ramifications on the overall DPC of the season. You can't just shaft a whole region like that and let everything else continue on like normal business. It screws up the whole point system, you know?
yeah, I don't know what the answer is.
Me neither. And I think some of it depends on what happens with the virus and also what happens just with, global travel conditions and all that kind of stuff. I think a lot of this is we've got no choice but to sort of sit back and see how things unfold and kind of hope for the best.
If I had to make a guess, there won't be a Chinese team at the LA Major.
Yeah.
I don't really see any way around that. Isn't that thing like kind of soon? When is it? March?
March. So
I mean, unless there's
it depends how things go, dude. I mean,
yeah.
it's not looking
obviously
good.
You hope the infection rate dies down and the quarantine stuff is working and everything, but
so
you can
far
never really trust
not
anything from the Chinese government.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all know that.
There's a shitload of unconfirmed cases. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's pushing like 10K now or something. It's a lot. So, yeah, it's scary stuff that's even affecting our little esports bubble here, man. Even video games affected by viruses. Oh,
Yeah, but don't. I do agree with one thing. Do not. Don't go all global panic mode.
No, I mean
We're not at that point, but we are in a point just because we so closely. We work with obviously a lot of different countries in the world that these kind of things are going to impact us a lot more than like your routine walking down to the grocery store.
And though that is a
deal.
fair point, I really do hate the over fear mongering. Though at the same time, it's important to remember a lot of this stuff is prevention is really key. So we kind of have to be cautious while it's not an issue to make sure it stays not an issue. It gets a little harder to retroactively deal with the virus once it's taken over an entire continent or something. So there is a lot of fear mongering out there, but it is also it's a pretty wild story, man. I'm a little scared. I'm not gonna
Fingers crossed that everything works out for the minor and the major. I would hate
yes.
for an entire region to miss out. So
fingers crossed. Last question I wanted to look at was, anyone know if Slack's finished reading ZYORI'S book? No, he's read the first third. He stopped right before the sniff sniff chapter. I don't even care if he finishes the damn thing. I just want to hear sniff sniff read by Slacks. If that's the only remaining chapter he reads, I will die happy, because that is the meat of the book.
I should have given him that out, dog. Now he's definitely going to.
Folks, I wrote 300 pages just to make Sniff Sniff sound like it was reasonable in the context of my life, okay? That chapter is the hallmark of the book, and he is the ultimate dick tease, dude. He stopped right there. I'm going to tease that I'm coming back tomorrow. There was no tomorrow. There might never be a tomorrow.
Free.
Yeah, I think that's it. Shout out to Shared Tangos and our sister podcast, the Side Pull with Capitalist and Leaf Eater. Make sure you check that out in between your podcast needs there. We'll be back to somewhat weekly schedules. About a week from now, should have another episode coming out. It's been a pretty intense January, dude. We did a lot of podcasting.
Yes, had to squeeze them all in there. Big thanks to Lyrical again for stepping in and helping me out on such short notice. I know, baby just couldn't wait, so there it was.
Yep.
And we'll be back very soon. I'm guessing our next episode will probably maybe a minor pre-show, perhaps.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe look at the qualifiers, have to look at the calendar and figure out the best way to make it happen. We were blessed with just a busy January, man. It felt like we didn't even have to scrape for content. There was just a lot of shit to talk about. That was legitimately interesting. So it's been a great start, folks. Thank you so much for joining us so far. The VOD will be up on the Moonduck YouTube, and the audio on the Simplecast. We're on everywhere now: Google, iTunes, Spotify. Just search Shared Tangos, Trent ZYORI. It should pop up right away. Subscribe, download, enjoy. We appreciate all you out there. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.